Call this meeting of the Alexander County Board of Commissioners to order. It's May 14th, 2012. For the invocation, I'm going to call on Commissioner Larry Yoder and myself for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please rise.
Let's stand. Our kind and gracious, most heavenly Father, we appreciate the opportunity to come to you tonight to ask your blessings upon our county, upon our state, and upon our nation. Lord, we'd ask that you'd be with those troops both at home and abroad. Be with us today as we received plenty of rain, Lord, and if you would look after those folks that have received more than what they can deal with at this time. Be with those in this county that are sick and afflicted. Help us that we will lead, guide, and direct in this county in the way that you'd asked us to do. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get started, I wanted to recognize some people in the county. The first ever CVCC Fire Academy graduates. I believe 11 of the 12 firemen that graduated from that program are from Alexander County. And I wanted to read their names and what fire department that they're with. First is Christopher Fox. He's with Taylorsville Fire Department. Dylan Jolly, Bethlehem Fire and Rescue. Nick Wright, Taylorsville Fire Department. Christopher Brown, Wittenberg Fire Department. Michael Byers, Taylorsville Fire Department. Roxanne Byers, Taylorsville Fire Department. Brennan Moore, Taylorsville Fire Department. Cody Sigmund, Taylorsville Fire Department. Eric Walker, Ellendale Fire Department. And Ethan Windsor, Wittenberg Fire Department. And they graduated May the 12th, so just a couple days ago. And we need to thank them for going out there and getting that extra training to help protect our property and our families. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank those people for what they do serving Alexander County. All right, commissioners' reports. Do any commissioners have anything they'd like to report on?
I've got a couple of things I'd like to mention. The 28th of May is Memorial Day. The Veterans Committee and all the veterans organizations in the county are having a Memorial Day observance on May 27th, which is Sunday, before May 28th, on the courthouse lawn, beginning promptly at 3 o'clock. And I just looked at some, and obviously if most of you know this, watching or listening, and the folks here, but Memorial Day is to honor the individuals that died in battle defending this country. And last night I just looked up some statistics that I didn't have on the tip of my tongue. And depending on what website you went to, the numbers differed somewhat. But in World War II, there were 416,800 Americans killed in World War II. Other websites had maybe 3,000 or 4,000 more, 4,000 left. Korean War, 36,576. Vietnam, 58,209, and they're still finding bodies in Vietnam. And even though this was not a war fighting foreigners, so to speak, the war between the states or the Civil War, whatever you wanted to call it, 618,000 soldiers died. But this Memorial Day event is to commemorate the folks that gave all, which is their life. And of course, Veterans Day is completely different as to honor anybody that served. So I would encourage everybody to attend. And again, it starts at 3 o'clock on the 27th, which is Sunday. And that's it.
Anyone else?
What
Okay.
time is it, Berkey? What time will that be?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
It starts promptly at 3 o'clock.
All right. Thank you. You've got the agenda before you. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes? If not,
Move to approve with the additions that have been given to us this evening.
I have a motion and a second. I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, oh, I'm sorry.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. First,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
may I add one more thing? And I meant to do this, but we are still working on the video project of recording World War II veterans, Korean War veterans, Vietnam War veterans, veterans of the Gulf. Chad's doing a wonderful job, but we're still soliciting people to submit names, telephone numbers of people that live in the county to do that. I've talked to Ginger Annis, who is our Veteran Services officer in the county, and I do have her telephone number this time, which I didn't have last time. Her telephone number is 632-5411, and I was just talking to Chad before the meeting started, the ones that he has recorded. He certainly learned a lot about the sacrifices of the folks that he's recorded. And I would just encourage, if you know anyone, especially World War II and Korean War veterans, to get in touch with Ginger while they're still here.
Okay, thank you. First item on the agenda is public comment. Mr. French, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak? Okay. Item number 2. Already done that, did I not?
We haven't.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I thought Brad already did that. Okay.
You do that.
I'm sorry. I thought Mr. Earp was going to take care of this part, but I'll go ahead and do this. We wanted to recognize the following employees who have been members of the North Carolina Association of Rescue and EMS Services for 25 years. Terry B. Fox, Tommy Dale Johnson, and Billy Killian. We need to thank them for their service and all the training that they have done to help protect our families. All right. Item number 2 on the agenda, proclamation for EMS Week. I call on Bradley Earp, EMS Director.
Well, thank you, Mr. Commissioner, for allowing me to come tonight. I was asking for this EMS Week Proclamation. A lot of people don't understand the EMS system. It starts with the first responders and goes all the way through your emergency room care at the hospital. It's a complete system of medical care. And like you said, we've got a large group of individuals here in Alexander County that provide the ambulance service, which is one portion of EMS. I really enjoy working with these guys. They're a group of men and women that are professional, highly trained individuals. They do a lot of training each year to be prepared to do their job. And with that, I asked for this EMS Week Proclamation. The proclamation reads, whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others, and whereas the members of emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, I, Ryan Mayberry, Chairman of the Alexander County Board of Commissioners, Tazewell, North Carolina, in recognition of this week, hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through 26, 2012 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme, EMS, More Than a Job, a Calling. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities adopted this day, 14th day of May, 2012. And it's signed Jamie Starnes, Clerk to the Board, and Ryan Mayberry, Chairman of Commissioners. The theme this year says EMS, More Than a Job, a Calling. I feel that it really is a calling because those guys and ladies experience a lot of stress on the job. It talks about in here the specialized training. We do a lot now in Alexander County with our EMS service that we didn't do 20 years ago when I got in. Things are rapidly changing. We're working closely with the cath labs at the hospitals to get heart attack patients straight into the cath lab. Cardiologist starts taking care of them, saving their heart muscle. We're airlifting trauma patients to the trauma center like Baptist Hospital or Carolinas Medical Center. And it's making drastic improvements in the end outcomes. With that said, a few minutes ago you mentioned a few of our employees, some of them were not able to come tonight. That's been a member of the North Carolina Association of Rescue and EMS 25 years. One of them was able to come tonight, and his name is Billy Keegan. He has been with us since 1984, I believe. He's in the audience tonight with his wife, Brenda. They live in the Wittenberg community. He completed the first certificate paramedic program that CVCC held here in Alexander County, and he completed that up this past November and tested and got his paramedic. And he's one of our part-time staff members. And that goes to show you the dedication of all of our employees, full and part-time. And if Billy would come up, I'd like to present him a pen that the association sent him for 25 years.
How about,
Been a member of the association.
maybe his wife would like to come up with him?
Yeah, come on.
I'm not
She
trying to
makes
get
a
in trouble here,
sacrifice
but,
just as much as he does,
Yeah.
if not more. I mean, are you not leaving now? Are you?
She's about ready to skinny.
we don't have to put that in the paper now.
Yeah, she's skinny. Won't be the first time, will it?
We don't need you for you to perform first aid here tonight now.
Hold on, get the picture, Bradley.
Bill, you not gonna say anything?
No.
Okay, I just thought I'd check, okay? Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Bradley, I got one thing I want to comment on and congratulate you folks on is, from a personal perspective, the care that you give my mother when you transport her to the wound care facility in Valdez. We really appreciate that.
Right. We've got 28 full-time staff, and then we've got right at 20 part-time staff right now. And like I said, I'm proud of every one of them. They do work hard. We've got the 20 part-time staff. Several of them live in other counties, but they, when they come here to work, they come here and give us 100%.
Yeah, Bradley, one thing I'd like to reiterate, Mr. Chairman, is the fact that what you were talking about, the constant contact at the emergency room and getting everything ready, especially, here in the county, since we do not have a hospital, or that we do not have an emergency type facility. I think it's important that our people in our county understand that our paramedics are extremely well trained, and they do have constant contact at the emergency room. And when you get to the hospital, I mean, they're ready to do whatever needs to be done, and the immediate care, even if we had a hospital, that immediate care is taken care of by our first responders and our paramedics, and they do an outstanding job. And I know Trust me, I know. So, but I want to commend you guys on a great job, all the paramedics and what they do for the citizens of this county. And I hope nobody needs them. I know that they're going to, but at the same time, if they do, I think everybody needs to understand that they are in good hands, because our paramedics do an outstanding job, along with the assistance from the first responders and the Alexander County Rescue Squad. And
They do. The rescue squad gives us a lot of support.
a lot of support,
And
absolutely.
we have several meetings throughout the year with the hospitals, working with our cardiac teams, and even in stroke care. We meet with the neurology teams and stuff over there. So we're constantly try to improve our care that we give.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to underline what Larry just said, because our EMS employees are well-trained, and the equipment they have, when Bradley was talking, I was making a note here. The first ambulance I remember seeing in Alexander County was at Stony Point Volunteer Fire Department when they equipped in 1957. And as I remember, that ambulance had a place you could lay somebody in there, and the care was drive as fast as you can to get them to a doctor. There wasn't training and so on. And along in Bradley did mention along about early 80s, 80, 85, along in there, we started training first responders in the fire departments. And of course, our EMS training stepped up, our equipment was improved. Back in the good old days, there wasn't even radio communication, and now with computers and with the level of training that our personnel have and with the equipment they have, they can provide emergency care from the time they arrive, and there's a lot of comments about the emergency room and so on, but Larry can speak from experience with the level of care they provide. You're going to get to the hospital a lot quicker than going through the old emergency room setup we had. Do appreciate everything they do, and thank them for the work they do, and we thank their spouses for the patience they have for letting them do it.
All right. You've got a proclamation before us, and I will make the motion that we accept this proclamation, EMS Week Proclamation. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you, Bradley. Item 3 on the agenda, I call on Rick French, County Manager, a report on Fox Court water petition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Per our policy, if we receive a request for Citizens for Water Service, first step is report to the board. There's no action to be taken tonight. It's for information purposes only. You have a petition signed by 7 families or property owners of Fox Court, and if it's not in a subdivision, the property owners would have to pay 2/3 of material costs, and the county pays the other third. And we'll bring a proposal back to you at the June meeting and present it to the board with a full report. But at this time, just want to, for information purposes, bring the petition to you, show you the petition.
Okay. Any questions?
Mr. Manager, I guess that's the question I have. Dixie Drive, is that an offshoot of Fox Court?
It is, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. French. Item 4 on the agenda, board appointments and reappointments. Calling Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. We have actually an update. You have a second appointment. One reappointment is Bud K. Wood for 2 years to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And the second is for the Council on Aging, an appointment Sally Goodnight for 3 years.
Move to approve both appointments, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right, item 5 on the agenda, budget ordinance amendments number 43 and number 44. Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budget amendment number 43 is to increase the budget for workers' comp insurance due to individual claims that will exceed the $10,000 deductible, to increase the garage budget for estimated fuel costs through June 30th, 2012, and to increase the garage budget to convert a county vehicle to a propane-powered vehicle, to increase appropriation to YMCA by $5,000, to increase the medical examiner budget for estimated expenses through June 30th, 2012, and to increase the health department budget for the second distribution of food and lodging funds, to increase the health department budget for state funds for motivational interviewing training, to increase the extension service budget for donations from outside sponsors received during the 2011-2012 budget year. Budget amendment number 44 is to increase the resource center budget for required cognitive behavior intervention employee training and meals, to increase pretrial release budget for client services, and to adjust the JCPC budget for fiscal year 2012 that is revised the funding plan for the state of North Carolina.
Does anyone have any questions?
On that JCPC, the state is going to pay that, reimburse us, right,
Yes, ma'am.
for that amount?
I did have one question, Mr. French. The county vehicle that is being converted to a propane-powered vehicle,
Yes, sir.
I forgot to ask you, what department is that?
Inspections.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the budget amendments.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 on the agenda, County Manager's Report. Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. You have my report tonight. The one item I just want to ask you to look at your calendars. We're scheduled for our first budget work session for May 29th. I don't know if it'd be possible to move that up to the end of the following, either May 23rd, May 25th, somewhere in that time frame. But I'd like to change that meeting if possible from the 29th. We still have to meet with the Finance Committee about it, but we're, won't be long, we'll be ready to meet with the Finance Committee about the 2012-2013 budget.
What day is the 23rd?
It's on a Wednesday.
It's on Wednesday.
I would propose that we have it on the 26th, 25th, which is Friday. I have the standing obligation I've told you all about for
Right.
on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Do you want to do it on 25th?
Is,
That would be my preference.
will the 22nd,
I think that'd be too early.
There's also a COG meeting that night.
The 22nd there is right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I suppose 25th then.
Is there any other time besides the 25th?
I mean, unless you
21st.
want to have it on during the weekend.
Well, you're already doing it on the weekend on a Friday night.
I know.
That's fine. I mean, Friday nights are tough for me because it's usually 7:30 before I get away from work, so.
Would you want to do it on, well,
Rick, how much time, we need to meet earlier because of the amount of time, we may need more than one meeting,
yes, sir.
correct? What about if we did it the 28th and 29th? Would that,
Well, I mean, the Memorial Day, that's when I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah. I don't have holidays on my calendar. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
we could do it on 28th if you want to do it then. We've met on Memorial Day before.
We have.
I have no problem with the 28th. I mean, other than the fact that Rick, it's a holiday for the county employees, but 28th, 29th would work for me.
Why don't we just try to do it on the 28th and do it all that night? Could we do that?
What time do you want to start?
6 o'clock? Well, we could start earlier if you want to.
Rick,
Sir.
why not just do it on the 29th? You got a day off on Monday, and if the rest of us work, we'd have a day off on Monday, so.
Well, I didn't know if anybody wanted to attend County Assembly Day. That's the 30th. Last year, a couple of commissioners attended. And I mean, I need to be there at 7:30 that morning, but whatever, if you want to have it on 29th, we'll do it on 29th. I think it'll take us a while because there's a number of issues with the new jail and things that we really need to discuss, so.
I don't have a problem with 28th. I was thinking more about.
Right. 28th, does that work? You want to say,
28th will work for me.
okay, you want to say 5 o'clock and try to start a little earlier? Instead of 6? Barry?
How about 5:30?
I'll be there as quick as I can.
Okay, so want to say
I
6?
will be,
Are you working? You're working?
yes.
Okay. So we'll say
I'll be there
let's
as
just-
fast as I
Why don't we
can.
just say 6, so then you can make 6?
I can make 6, but I'll be there as fast as I can.
Okay, May 28th at 6 p.m. in the County Administration Building downstairs.
But we will not meet on the 29th.
That's right. Could I have a motion for that, then that'll be.
Move to approve the 28th at 6.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. All right, 28th. Okay.
That's
Anything
all.
else, Mr. French?
No, sir, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. All right, we do need to have a closed session per North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to prevent the disclosure of confidential information, economic development, contractual, and personnel. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I second.
All right, is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you very much. That was a short meeting.